for the Soviet Union. Chibadze, Litovchenko. Lineker is the furthest forward for England, and he was crowded out. England have to keep their work rate going. They have to maintain their concentration, and to do that, they're going to introduce Trevor Steven. And it's Chris Waddle, the scorer of the goal, having done his job. Stephen maybe just to sit in, David, on a wide position in midfield.
I would have thought so. The Soviets now are beginning to build a little bit of pressure, but I do feel at the moment England are filling all the spaces and they're not able to create anything and to get a chance.
You just got a glimpse there of the number 13 for the Soviets, and it's a surprise package really. Sergei Dobrovolsky, who wasn't even named in the original team list. He's a young forward from Moscow Dynamo. So the scoreline which makes happy reading at the moment. And it's England with the lead given to them by Chris Waddle. Lockheed, a corner. .14 minutes left, and England to defend the one-goal lead at this corner. Everybody pulled back into the England half, most of them in the penalty area itself. And Shilton, in the end, able to let it go. It was an awkward in-swinging corner from Litovchenko.
The crowd are strangely silent. I feel they sense that the England work and the England covering and the England defensive work has been so good that it's limited them to hardly any chances. In fact, Shilton, apart from the super save that he's made this half, has had little to do.
That save when the score was still 0-0 from Litovchenko. Handball by Dobrovolsky. Dobrovolsky's hardly joined in the training when we've been watching the Soviets at work, but they're not frightened to give a youngster his chance. He's had very limited league experience, and they're asking him now to do a man's job, as the referee shows the yellow card to Bubnov.
I think Beardsley did well there. At least he got up straight away, didn't make a meal of it. It was a foul challenge. He was tight into him and hit him hard, and the referee was quite right.
Ray Wilkins then to take the free kick. Again, Butcher's come forward, but it was worked short for Hoddle. Met by Sansom. Hodge. Here's Trevor Steven. And that deflected off Litovchenko. It'll... Oh, the back pass has given the ball to Lineker. Hodge. Steve Hodge again. And the crowd hooting their derision. England almost presented with a second goal. But the angle was tight for Lineker himself, and Hodge couldn't squeeze a shot in with the angle not much wider. Good blocking by Butcher. And it's a goal kick. In fact, it deflected back against Gotsmanov. So Bubnov, the first player in the match to get the yellow card, and part of a Soviet defence that had a hairy moment. 11 minutes left. Right for England. The header from Chibadze. Ray Wilkins going in strongly. And England quite happy with the ball to be in that area of the pitch. Lineker and Beardsley have worked so hard. Alenikov. Now Litovchenko. Demianenko has been much more subdued in the second half. And Mark Wright, in contrast, has grown in authority. Hodge and Trevor Stephen was away in space on England's right. And the ball bobbled, as we've seen it do a number of times, and led to Hodge miscuing.
We'll now be very happy to concede possession to the Soviets in their own half. Stevens sitting deep, just coming onto that ball against Demianenko. But we've got 4 across the middle of the field now, and I feel we've filled the spaces, and we've got a good spirit going amongst the players, and I think they're going to hold on without any trouble.
Wilkins. Sansom. Butcher, who's looked very authoritative at the back throughout. And certainly watching the training, David, I know you felt that England had the better technique of the two countries.
Yeah, well, I've never had the real benefit of being able to watch England. It was an education for me for a couple of days. I was certainly very impressed with the massive Butcher's touch, because although you play against him in league games and you see him, when you're actually seeing him, you know, almost face to face, he was particularly skillful. I thought technically we were very, very good.
Ray Wilkins with the corner. Butcher trying to make something of it at the near post. Wilkins again. It's often portrayed that our players do lack the touch of other countries. Mark Wright making up ground on Kondratiev, but the referee has penalised him, I think, for the angle of the tackle. So this could be danger for England. Chilton more aware than anyone of that. He set a 3-man wall. Blocking, darting towards the near post. It's Wright who meets it. Litovchenko. And blocking, coming second to Sansom. And England looking to turn defending into counter-attack. And there was some brainy play then from Beardsley and Lineker, which in the end was punished by the flag of the Bulgarian linesman, because they checked back, aware that they could have gone offside. They'd bent their runs, and it must have been very close.
He made a very late decision there.
Hoddle. And Lineker again. And Bubnov just did enough. Lineker trying to lift the ball past the bigger and, at least on paper, slower defender. But Bubnov read it well.
I can't help feeling that Hoddle's been a little bit more effective playing further infield. He certainly's got 2 angles to see the pass, both left and right, whereas when he's stuck out on the right, he can only play infield.
Alenikov. Butcher. And here is Hoddle. He's got Beardsley to his right, and Lineker waiting to turn on that turbocharged pace through the middle. And now Steve Hodge. Sansom still full of running. Wilkins. England certainly not sitting on the 1-goal lead. Well, Mark Wright just taking a chance or two, and England working the ball back, lost their sense of purpose, really.
Rather casual, that, slipping into the hands of his critics. But he has done well this half.
Stephen, delighted to press his claims again. Although he'd be the first to admit, I think he's looked a little weary in recent Everton performances, and he's been entitled to be weary, the amount of games they've played in the last month. But on goes Trevor Stephen until the last touch takes the ball behind. England won in the Soviet Union, as I was saying earlier, in Moscow in 1973. They drew on their only other visit in 1958 in a pre-World Cup game, just as this is, when Bobby Robson and Don Howe were in the England side. That was played in Moscow.
It will be interesting to read the Soviet press tomorrow to see what the local people think of the game. I've seen France recently, and they look technically better than the Soviets. And of course, they're in that group in the World Cup in Mexico with France, Canada and Hungary.
England with just 5 minutes left. 5 minutes away from what would be a famous victory. Criticised in some quarters for a rather slipshod performance, perhaps in some ways against Israel, although any international victory away from home has to be applauded. But one in the Soviet Union, it's almost dancing in the streets. It never happens. Chibadze. And England haven't secured it yet. And it's Leinikov who heads over. Viv Anderson got a bang in jumping with Leinikov. In fact, collided with Kondratiev. Sergei Leinikov from Dynamo Minsk. 62,000 the attendance, and all but a handful are going home disappointed, and that handful who made such a tortuous journey from England, as the players thought they might have to, they'll be certainly feeling that they've been rewarded by what they've seen. A fixture that seemed ill-fated. It was only just over a week ago that perhaps everyone was thinking that England wouldn't come here. Anderson okay to go on. But apart from a short stop in Munich, the flight was direct and untroubled. England have been very well treated while they have been here. The hospitality has been good. And is that hospitality going to extend to letting England go away with a victory? It's beginning to look more and more like it. 3 minutes left. Demianenko. Leinikov. It was Hoddle who got a foot in cleanly. Wilkins who takes it up. Now Hodge. Beardsley in space ahead of him. And Sansom able to link up with Hodge again. Wilkins. Hoddle might be able to get away from Bubnov. Stephen. England still have 4 waiting for a cross. Wilkins, aware that Dobrovolsky was close at hand, and that was a little too abrupt between Hodge and Sansom. One or two of the tricks coming out now, such is England's confidence. Sansom, Beardsley. And still they win it back, and Peter Beardsley getting to the byline, and the cross taken comfortably by Dasaev. England still have 6 defenders back.
Beardsley will understand that this game has far more significant than coming on as substitute in his previous game, and he has done well today. He's done enough to persist with. I think he's lighted up the First Division this year.
Chibadze. They've got behind Ken Sansom this time. But what a comforting figure Peter Shilton is in times of stress. And that was a moment of anxiety.
Yeah, well, Peter won't lack concentration, even right towards the end of the game, even though he hasn't been, you know, overactive. He's still shouting, he's still calling, he's still commanding that area all the time. It's his voice that you can constantly hear on the behind the goal.
Played back by Hoddle after Anderson has won the header. Well, I'm too young to remember it, but they called Nat Lofthouse the Lion of Vienna for a famous goal in the 50s that brought England a win away from home. What would they call Chris Waddle, the Tiger of Tbilisi?
I don't know, he's a sausage man from Tower, isn't he?
But it's his goal that has given England a lead which they've defended with some composure.
It'll do Waddle's confidence a world of good, that goal.
And England have a tremendous victory through Chris Waddle's goal in the 67th minute. A victory really to boost our World Cup hopes. Bobby Robson's side, the first to win here in a major international for 6.5 years, and this with yet another preparation marred by injuries. For so long this looked an ill-fated trip, but not now. The message from here in the deep south of the Soviet Union is simply, England, well played.
Faraway Tbilisi, Northern Ireland continued their World Cup preparations tonight with a match against Denmark in Belfast. Ireland, of course, always capable of surprises, as they certainly proved in Spain in 1982. But now there's a strong feeling that the team for 1986 could well be the Danes. Their players are scattered throughout Europe's major clubs, like Jesper Olsen at Manchester United, Jan Molby at Liverpool. And even though they're not at full strength tonight, there's a real quality about them. But at the centre of attention tonight, Pat Jennings, goalkeeper extraordinary. Our commentator's Peter Brackley.
It's 6 games now since Northern Ireland last conceded a goal, but Billy Bingham has to make a defensive change. Jimmy Nichols injured, so Mel Donaghy switches to right back, with Nigel Worthington taking over the number 3 shirt. 2 wingers tonight, Ian Stewart and Steve Penny, and there's a second cap for the Bournemouth striker, Colin Clark. Well, this fellow's played a few times more than that. It's Pat Jennings' 115th international appearance tonight, and that equals the world record held by the former Swedish defender Bjorn Nordqvist. Well, the Danes certainly aren't at full strength. They've 6 regulars missing through club commitments and injuries, but such is the depth of quality in the squad, they can still field a very talented side, including the brilliant Michael Laudrup of Juventus, and 3 players based in England, Jesper Olsen and John Sieverbeck of Manchester United, and Liverpool's Jan Molby. Tonight's referee is Welshman Roger Gifford from Mid Glamorgan. Northern Ireland's first home international for 10 months. And what a test it's going to be for them here tonight against a side who not so long ago, of course, were regarded as one of the minnows of European football, but now looked upon as one of the finest. The Danes in their all-white strip and attacking the goal to our right in this first half. The crowd here tonight around 20,000. Limited to that for safety regulations. And here's Morten Olsen, the Danish libero, as they call them. McCreary's tackle. It's Colin Clark. An early break there for Northern Ireland. Safe in the arms of Troels Rasmussen. And Olsen was the lone figure forward then. The feeling was that Bergram would play up front alongside Laudrup, but it would seem to be more that Jesper Olsen has that position. Worthington, kick there for Whiteside. Struggling to get away from Sieverbeck. But the corner conceded. 2 Manchester United players together. Whiteside chased that long ball through from Worthington. Whiteside, of course, playing in midfield for his club, but perfectly happy to play up front for Northern Ireland. Indeed, he enjoys the switch. Penny again. It's Molby who got that one clear, but only as far as Stewart. Now McElroy. Taken up a good position. And well read then by the goalkeeper. The players arriving there. Rasmussen was quick to spot the danger. See the back foot had gone in. Rasmussen did damage his hand in training yesterday. And he may have got another knock there, perhaps on the same injury. Laudrup. Good skill. And he has electrifying pace. And unselfishly there, tried to send Berggren away. But his pace then was quite astonishing. Off the head of Nielsen for a Northern Ireland throw. And Billy Bingham was saying beforehand, it's not so much the result that he's concerned about tonight as the quality of performance. I wonder what he makes of this first half so far. Good play by McElroy. Didn't fall though for Penny. McDonald going in. Now Stewart. The whole cluster of Danish players around Ian Stewart then. Worthington's chip. Showing good vision there, and Whiteside with the shot. Deceptive play then by Worthington. And Whiteside. Well, I thought there just for a moment he was in the clear. And he couldn't keep the shot down. But good vision by Worthington. And Whiteside away from his marker. Bartram. Here's Mulvey. Space here for Lauridsen. Northern Ireland, again, showing their defensive qualities. Olsen flags up for offside. Jesper Olsen, who was dropped by Manchester United on Saturday, and says he's been disappointed with his club form. And he's by no means an automatic choice for Denmark either. Free kick to Northern Ireland. As the Danes pull everybody back to defend this free kick. And certainly keeping an anxious eye there on O'Neill and Whiteside. Penny with the free kick. And a goal from McDonald. Well, all the practice this morning on the set pieces has paid off. And Alan McDonald, on his first home appearance for Northern Ireland, has given them the lead. 5 minutes from half-time. Stealing in at the far post, directing the header in superbly. The free kick from Penny, and look for McDonald there. Escaping the marking. Way by McDonald. Nolby. Whistles from the crowd. Wanting the half-time whistle to go. Laudrup was some way off target there. But he really is a player of enormous talent. He scored 18 goals in just 27 internationals. He's certainly regarded now as one of the best strikers in the world. Well, it was the first half of limited goal-mouth action, but the one moment that matters belongs to Northern Ireland and to Alan McDonald with his first international goal. The Danes really have been rather disappointing. Their best moment, an exciting run by Michael Laudrup that came to nothing. But Alan McDonald's goal has Northern Ireland leading at half-time here by a 1-0. Well, there's one of the Denmark substitutes warming up. They've got 2 on already in this second half. Freeman and Christensen have come on for Olsen and Simonsen. And the Irish, with Jerry Armstrong on for David McCreary, who's got an ankle injury, but not too serious, we gather. It's Laudrup. Another chance to show that pace. And Worthington to the rescue yet again. He's just got his place back in the Sheffield Wednesday side. He certainly seems to have given him a new lease of life. Flag was up for offside, but the referee sensibly allowing the advantage, which Laudrup hopes to take up here. Christensen. Well, it was a genuine chance for the Danes. Falling to Christensen. But he wasn't able to keep his shot down. This is Lauritsen. To Anderson. This is Berggren. Free kick to Denmark, which Anderson will take. It was a free header at the far post. And comfortably tucked away too by Christensen. And the marking was so slack at the back then for Northern Ireland, as Christensen, with virtually a free header at the far post. Anderson with a free kick here, curling away from the 6-yard area. And the marking there was poor. So Christensen makes it 1-1. And the Danes, who've had plenty of possession in the second half, have their reward now. The substitute, Flemming Christensen, makes it 1-1. This is Kaki. Plenty of support for him tonight from his home crowd. Donaghy. Kaki again. An intelligent use of the ball there. Couldn't quite find Whiteside. The Danes appear to have had more time in the second half in the midfield area. Northern Ireland missing the tenacity of David McCreary. With just 5 minutes of this match to go. It stands at 1 apiece. And that, I think, a fair reflection of the way that the game has gone. Sieverbeck's check. Freeman just kept it in too. Oh, it's Christensen there at the far post. And Anderson going in too, with Jennings somewhat stranded. And that's the power of this Danish side. They suddenly, from almost a leisurely pace, burst into action. And a chance there was almost created. Now, could Northern Ireland create something themselves here? Steve Penny. What a boost it will be for their morale if they can win this game tonight. Sieverbeck there with a lovely chip through. Freeman, who pulls it back beyond Pat Jennings, and just too far really for Christensen. So a Northern Ireland free kick then from Nigel Worthington. Kick there towards McDonald. And Rasmussen have to stretch.